thought you were joining me.
Oh, okay.
Ba, 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 ba. Welcome to our Inside All Day Jason Portnoy. No kidding, I do it every single time. Our Mission Impossible kind of series review at this time. I am Chris of the Inside All Day podcast, better known as Player 2. And then you have my lovely wife here, as always.
Hello. I don't know why I waved.
Miss Nadia. You see, we, in honor of, Mission Impossible, both decided to dress up as IMF agents. And I couldn't decide. I was like, she's going to be Ethan Hunt. I suppose I could be like Ving Rhames. Just throw that on over that. Yep.
I like
so
it.
I got that going. Or I take that hat off. Hold on. I have my baseball cap I actually wore here. I should put this on. Now I can be a spy or somebody trying to be stealthy in any of the single Marvel films. Captain America.
Just a ball cap and
Black Widow, Sam Wilson,
Aviator.
Bucky Barnes. Yep. Leather jacket, plain t-shirt, aviators, and a baseball cap. Oh, hold on. I stand out too much with the little patch. There we go.
I think I would be a cool secret agent. I think I could do it. I think I could do it because I play dumb very well. I'm a nice cold killer when it needs to be. And I'm a cusp of Pisces and Aries, so
nobody knows what that means. Literally zero people.
It's my astral sign.
You are fake news. Fake news.
A little bit of fire, a little bit of water.
Fake news.
Or as some people call it,
a little thunder, a little lightning.
A little thunder, a little lightning. Yeah, I think I'd be a cool secret agent. I think I could pull it off. I'm stealthy.
You'd be like that one agent in the beginning of, was it Ghost Protocol? No.
Continue what you're saying.
No, it's okay. He's just the guy who clearly is walking into an assassin. And it's like,
why would that be me? I would be the assassin.
How'd you know?
Is it? Yes.
You be the assassin?
Yes.
The assassinator?
Yes.
As opposed to the assassinatee?
Yes.
I gotcha.
Call me Scorpion.
I don't know what that was, but it was Scorpion tail. Anyways, now that we're through our, I don't know, drug-fueled psychosis.
Shall we tell a little bit of history of why we decided to watch all 6 movies plus the one in theaters, all 7?
All 7 up to date? Well, I mean, I think it's actually pretty easy. It's really just that you kind of hadn't seen them.
Yeah, that's true. The only one I had seen was Dead Reckoning with, not Dead Reckoning.
You saw
Fallout with Cavill.
Because you have a Cavill crush.
Yes. And then we went to go see Dead Reckoning in theaters, and I enjoyed it as well. So we decided to go back and watch all of them over. Over for you again, but first time viewing for me.
Well, there was a couple, actually, as it turned out. I didn't even realize that I had missed what ended up being my favorite Mission Impossible. But we'll get to that. And
they're all enjoyable in their own way, except for 2, but they're very enjoyable.
Listen, 2 is not bad. 2 just has to stand up between 1 and 3, and that's really hard to do.
Yes. But I thought they were great. Like, we were listening to all of the different theme musics on the way here.
I was grading and
judging. And it made me want to go back and watch them even again. So
well, and that's where I think Mission Impossible sits in kind of this great position in like the movie Venn diagram of like, it's on USA TNT.
Oh, you just
I'm
put
just
going
to put it on in the background.
Yeah.
I feel like watching a Mission Impossible. I'm just going to find it and stream it right now. It's like, you want to watch it, you will hunt it down to watch it, but also if it's on in the background, like, I feel like a lot of movies don't accomplish both. You will either go to watch them, but they require so much focus that you have to put all your time into it. You can't necessarily, like, Mission Impossible, you kind of, okay, listen, there's details going on in the story, but you generally know how the story's going to go.
Each of them are their own movie. There's, in a sense, its own story, but the last few of them have kind of an underlining overall arcing story that goes throughout all of them.
With Spectre.
Similar to our favorite book series, too.
Which one would that be?
Dresden Files.
Oh, I do like Dresden Files. It's funny you should mention that.
I got an alert, by the way, sidetrack on this. I got an alert from Jim Butcher News about a book being released. I'm like, oh, cool.
Is it Cinder Spire too?
Yes.
Of course it's Cinder Spire. Well, in fairness, he's taken 18 years to release the second Cinder Spire book.
So, but yes, I overall think this series is great. I agree with you. It's a great series to put on in the background. I can see why people are fans of them. I will be sad if the last one, if it eventually does get made, is the last official one.
Well, I mean, even before we jump into all of it, I could really see, they just released Dead Reckoning Part 1. It's a 2-part movie.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously Part 2 is supposed to release next year. We'll see how that goes. And could this be Tom Cruise's last Mission Impossible?
I don't know. He's getting up there in age. I mean, the last one, he was very jowly. I want to look that good at his age.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. All the Scientology sacrifices. I get it.
Yeah, you got to, pledge your life to Xenu.
And all in all, I mean, I think Tom Cruise is really honestly the last movie star.
Or
one of the last few.
Way up there. Well, now I will say this. This is interesting stuff about how old he is getting. I read that, or I should say I watched someone talking about the fact that Tom Cruise is now older as Ethan Hunt than John Voight was, who did not look young when he was in the very first Mission Impossible, when he was just playing like the side, like, I don't want to say a side character, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He wasn't playing quite the action adventure character that Tom was, but that's always, that's a hard mark to hit. But it's pretty interesting to think that one of the guys who was one of the oldest actors in the first movie, Tom Cruise, is now older than that gentleman and doing things like climbing buildings and jumping off of mountains,
cliffs on a bike and holding on to planes.
Or as he calls it, Saturday.
Everybody's amazed by this, but you did make a point to say like he's an adrenaline junkie.
Tom Cruise is an adrenaline junkie. We're going to go talk about all of the different stunts that got performed in each movie, the ones that he specifically did. Listen, the motorcycle jump is super cool. It's hyper impressive.
But it's not your favorite, though.
It's not. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I can do it, but I feel like...
You talk like you can pretend like you can do it.
I can definitely talk like I can pretend like I can do it.
He just takes a bike off the cliff. Been prepping for years on this, practicing, and you're like, oh, he did it 6 times. I'm like, yeah, he did it 6 times, but any one of those times could have been his death.
But I mean, he could have lost, anything could have gone wrong when he was climbing. Was it the Burj Khalifa or the
single person we know that would be even willing to at least just drive the bike up the ramp and back?
Yes. In fact, he just got into a motorcycle accident.
Oh, well, yeah.
I hope your ribs feel okay, Mike.
Okay, fair enough. Never mind. I retract my statement.
But I guess the reason I give it a hard time is because everybody's building it up as like the best stunt ever done. And it is an epic stunt. I'm not taking anything away from that. My point is this. Tom Cruise has a lot of background experience in just being an adrenaline junkie and doing things like riding motorcycles aggressively. He's gone through training for that for years, extensively. I can't say I know for a fact that he's done, parachute, but he wasn't Top Gun. I imagine he's probably had some
free climbs.
Yeah. I imagine he's jumped out of a plane once or twice in his life at this point, being who he is.
Well, it's a typical Saturday for him.
Well, but it kind of, it's not, but it kind of is.
Probably has his own private plane where he can, you know what? I feel like jumping out of a plane this morning.
Well, but when you take
coffee.
When you take his experience, into account, though, you go to like when he was climbing the Burj Khalifa in, was that Ghost Protocol?
Yes, but yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll get there. You sound like you were about to say something.
No, I wasn't going to say anything.
Am I jumping?
No, I don't think so. But I did want to say a spoiler alert, but these movies are old. Besides Dead Reckoning. And if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, Dead Reckoning is even almost out in streaming.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to give too much away on each of them. So I did a little bit of digging and I have the summaries for each of them. And I also have who the directors are and what age Tom Cruise was during the filming. During the filming, not when it premiered, not during the filming, how old he was. And then like a couple of the actual stunts he did. So do you want to dive into it?
Oh. Let's do it.
Do you accept this mission? All right.
Mission accomplished.
We'll go with Mission Impossible 1, 1996, directed by Brian De Palma. Thank you.
I got you, boo.
Everybody knows. I don't know how to say names. When the U.S. government operative Ethan Hunt and his mentor Jim Phelps go on a covert assignment that takes a disastrous turn. Thank you.
Yep.
Jim is killed. Ethan becomes a prime murder suspect, now a fugitive. Hunt recruits brilliant hacker Luther and maverick pilot Franz Kieger to help him sneak into a heavily guarded CIA building to retrieve a confidential computer file that proves his innocence.
I'm sorry, did you say Luther?
I know. He's getting up there in age too.
Holy
I wish
cow.
I had looked that up.
Ving Rhames, I love him. Love him, but he is not moving so great these days.
So again, I had seen Fallout and we had seen Dead Reckoning Part 1, and then we went back to watch the first one. So when I watched the first one, first of all, I think it holds up. I think
the first one's so different from the rest of them, too.
It is completely different from the rest of them. Like, you could take probably the first one out of the whole series and it's its own thing. There's no like overlapping storylines between them and stuff, except for obviously for Ethan and stuff, who's a ladies' man as well. But he, what was interesting to this movie, how very simple, like you know, because I know Ethan's always going to make it out because there's 7 freaking movies, right? By now. All right. I would have loved to see what
it could be Benji in a mask.
Well, that's true. I would have loved to see what the experience would have been if I had seen it for the first time in 1996, right? But it is interesting that the suspensefulness of it, of like him like doing different tricks and stuff and trying to get this file and things. Like, I was on the edge of my seat. I was like, oh, holy cow. And
could you imagine having to use exploding bubblegum to make sure you got the floppy disk with all the information on it to safety?
All this Maverick
floppy disk.
Floppy disk too. Nobody Gen Zs don't even know what floppy disks are. It's so crazy to me.
It's just another word for the save icon, right?
Yeah, and to see the technology that was used back then that was supposed to be like high-tech spyware. This is very interesting. So I will say, let me pull this up. Okay. So how old do you think Tom Cruise was for the first one? He was pretty young looking.
Tom Cruise, well, like 34 or something?
Yep.
Did I actually nail it?
Nailed it. 34 years old.
Yeah. I'm like 30 is too young, but he's definitely younger than I am.
But he looks younger than 30. Man, I'm telling you, it's that Scientology voodoo.
It's those Xenu genes.
And a couple of the stunts that he did himself in that movie was obviously the Langley heist where he falls down and barely, like, all the sweat is pouring off of him and stuff. And in the beginning, the exploding fish tank.
Yeah.
Was another one.
As he ran out of that?
Yeah. That was and then when he was on top of the train, that's actually him.
It's really funny to think how far all the different stunts have gone. Like, exploding fish tank. I have an idea. Let's jump a motorcycle off of a mountain.
Exactly. We're building up. We're building up. We're building up to it. I thought that movie, if I had to give it a score, I'd probably give it a 4 out of 5. It was fun. It was fun.
It was more suspense thriller than as it's gradually become a little bit more of an action film. In fact, I believe in the first movie, I don't think he even touches a gun.
I don't remember. I don't think so.
So, and on top of that, fun fact from the first movie, you're talking about the stunt he did. If I remember correctly, I heard this years ago, but I believe they were having issues when they would lower him with him being able to stay flat and balance.
Oh, right.
So they had to put coins in his shoes to counterbalance him so he could lay flat when they dropped him.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it's just, movie magic.
It's a fun movie. It's fun. And I can see why it got a sequel. Now, I don't know how the sequel got a third movie, but.
I think what I want to throw this out there too for the first movie is I think I actually caught some heat early on because I think people found it too, like, they couldn't keep up with like all the spy details.
Really?
Yes. I don't know how true that is. That is something I was reading this time. And I was reading it earlier today and I did zero more research into that, but that was something I was reading and I found that kind of interesting.
I will say I like the quirkiness that happens throughout each of them. There's a little bit of break of humor in all of them.
Yeah, it's like serious spy film, action film, buddy cop film.
Yeah, and I like the little bit of humor that's added throughout each of them. It's very fun. So I would give it a 4 out of 5.
The first Mission Impossible, I'll probably be a little...
It holds up. I think it does,
but I'll probably be a little bit harsher. I'm going to go 3.75. I'm going to be just a little bit more...
Wait till we get to the second one.
A little bit more... Hey, I know exactly where the second one's going.
All right, we're going into the second one.
Second one directed by one Mr. John Woo. Or as I saw one person say online again when I was doing my research, leave John Woo alone.
Who loves his slow motion. Like, I get it was
his
the
slow
style
motion
back then. Just like, yeah.
John Woo's signature, slow motion, release doves.
Yes.
John Woo.
Doves.
Yeah.
I remember there's doves in this one, right? I think.
In the second one? Yes, absolutely. There's slow motion birds. It's John Woo.
Somebody said, like, wait for the doves. Like, doves, and then doves. Okay. Cruise returns to his role as Ethan Hunt in the second installment of Mission Impossible.
So he can team up with the Spice Girl.
The first and the second one is just called Mission Impossible and then Mission Impossible 2, right? Mm-hmm. This time, Ethan Hunt leads his IMF team on a mission to capture a deadly German virus before it's released by terrorists. His mission is made impossible due to the fact that he's the only person after samples. He's not the only person after the samples of the disease. He also must contest with a gang of international terrorists headed by a turned bad former IMF agent who has already managed to steal a cure.
Right, and there's one point where he masks up as Ethan and does the that
opening, yeah, on the plane, yeah. This one, okay. So as much as people make fun of this one because of the directing style, it's not terrible.
It's not a bad movie, but again, it has to stand up against all the other Mission Impossibles, which makes it a Mission Impossible.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, what do we really want to talk about from this movie? The mountain climbing scene, his long hair.
Oh, right. He has long hair in this one.
The motorcycle duels.
Yes. Okay. How old do you think he was? This one was released in 2000.
Oh, I already forgot the year, but I forgot right when the first one came out, but I'm going to assume there's probably like 4 years in between. I'm going to call 38.
You're right. Now, did you read my notes?
I have. I did actually read your notes, but believe me when I tell you, I don't remember any of it.
A couple of the stunts that he did was the free climbing, and there's a scene where he gets a knife close to the eye. That is an actual eye. That is not digitally added. That's a knife that they actually like.
Do like a close up.
Yes. So that knife point, and I guess the actor who has the pressure of putting the knife down actually was putting real pressure down to make it look realistic.
Oh yeah, you got
it. Holding. Yes. So that is actually Tom Cruise's
You think
eye.
Tom Cruise isn't going to take a knife to the eye for Mission Impossible, especially this late in the game? I mean, that was too.
I mean, it'd be kind of cool to add a
Tom Cruise with an eye patch would be absolutely dashing.
You think so?
Yes.
So I have a weird thing. I don't find Tom Cruise attractive.
I know exactly where this is going. I love this.
But yet, as we progress through these movies, I find Ethan Hunt attractive. It is so weird.
There is a calm confidence that you know he can follow through on whatever he says.
It's a man, I guess.
1,000%.
I have no desire. Tom Cruise is not my type. Yeah, Ethan Hunt. I was like,
but he's got you on the hunt.
But it wasn't until the 5th movie I went, I think I'm attracted. I don't know. I'm confused.
You need to watch the one is it just called Vincent? The one where he plays Vincent, where he plays like an older hitman.
There's a couple ones. Isn't he in
angry Tom Cruise? That's
Jack Reacher too. He did those movies.
I didn't love Jack Reacher.
He was in Interview with a Vampire. I don't find Tom Cruise attractive. I don't find most of the characters he plays on screen attractive. But for some reason, Ethan Hunt goes wild. Just goes wild.
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished. By the way, that's the other thing I want to mention. IMF, Impossible Mission Force.
Yes.
Could you create a more creative name?
I mean, what else? I mean, think about your Federal Bureau of Investigation,
FBI,
Central Intelligence Agency. This is how these things are named.
Well, I remember I turned to you after the first one. I was like, IMF. What does that stand for? And you just looked me dead in the eye and you go, Impossible Mission Force. I'm like, that is so stupid.
Would you expect to be called Double Secret Dragon Strike Force? I
should have figured it out.
Double Secret Dragon Ultra Strike Force 9.
Okay.
9. No, don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. don't do that. All right.
I love Jojo Rabbit.
Anything else we want to say about number 2? What do you rate it?
I probably rate number 2 with number 2.
I give it
a stinker.
2.5.
I give it I actually mean that. I give it a 2 out of 5.
I think if I were to rank them, it would definitely be the bottom of my list. Or at least the bottom.
We'll give the overall ranking at the end. Okay. And it'd be great to see. We can go back and roast ourselves if our scores don't actually match up to how we rate them.
Yeah.
In sequence. That'd be fun.
And then the internet will yell at us and say, "No, number 2 is a classic. You don't understand John Woo's vision on it." I can hear them now. All right.
With the doves?
Yes, with the doves.
I mean, what else is there really to say about 2? 2 is kind of, out of all of them, the most forgettable.
Yeah, I can say that.
You really only remember 2 for
I
how
just
easy
really
it is to
honestly remember the opening sequence of the plane where it's
I wish that was what I wish was all I remembered. All I remember about
But
2.
the tech advanced too as well.
Oh yeah.
Every single time these movies come out, the tech has advanced further and further.
No, I see. You remember the opening scene, and I remember the motorcycle duel. That is
You were
the motorcycle
so excited
duel.
about
No,
that.
I wouldn't call it excited, but the motorcycle duel is definitely like when somebody says a movie, you think of like a scene from the movie, right? Like somebody says Fellowship of the Rings, and you think of I think of Gandalf, like you shall not pass, right? Awesome, epic. But when I think of 2, less epic. I think of motorcycle duels.
You're just jealous because you can't do a motorcycle.
Listen,
because I won't let you buy a motorcycle.
This is true. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, especially after that one. All right. We're going to get into the third one.
After his second motorcycle accident?
Yes. Yeah. So
that we know of.
Now, going again, I have no concept of any of these movies going into. But the one thing the internet decided that they
I know where this is going.
had to tell me multiple times was
that 3 was fun.
The 3 was fun, but 3 had the most ruthless villain out of all of them. Like the best villain out of all of them was in this third one. So let us get into this.
Let us Philip Seymour the Hoffman.
Retired from active duty, right? He's married now, right? Mm-hmm. Well, getting married. Training recruits for the Impossible Mission Force.
IMF.
Thank you. Agent Ethan Hunt faces the toughest foe of his career, Owen Davin.
Isn't it Davion?
Listen again. People know I don't know how to pronounce names. Philip Seymour Hoffman plays him.
Sorry, I have the music still stuck in my head.
I think he's a phenomenal actor. I like most of the stuff I've seen him in. An international brokers of arms and information who is as cunning as he is ruthless. Davin emerges to threaten Hunt and all he holds dear, including the woman Hunt loves. Now, the first 2, Ethan really doesn't have like a love interest in the first 2. I mean, there are women in these movies and there's like chemistries and yeah, like I'm sure it's not hard for Ethan.
Doesn't he take that one woman from Westworld out on a date in Australia at the end of the second movie?
I think so.
He does.
He does?
I know he does.
Oh, okay.
I remember it ends and there's the bridge in the background.
And in the first movie,
there's a million people there and they're just making out in the park.
In the first movie, he like was cheating. Well, he wasn't cheating, but his handler's wife or lead's wife, he was fooling around with too as well. Ethan's a real ladies man, like real ladies man. Anyway, so watching this movie, I went in expecting that it was going to be like really creepy. I'm sorry, I missed that. What did you say?
I was making a joke about Ethan always dating attractive women, and I went, "There's no bruised fruit in that bunch."
Bruised fruit. Oh my. Okay. All right.
Hey, you married me.
I did. Willingly too.
Willingly.
Just to
and
say.
not under duress. She's not blinking in Morse code.
I'm not. And again, this is Mission Impossible 3, 1, 2, and 3. 3 is 2006, directed by J.J. Abrams.
So I'm going to guess this one's, he's 6 years older now.
Star Wars.
Guessing he is 44 in this one.
Star Trek. 44, yes.
Okay, and that one I did do the math.
I feel
remember
like
the numbers
you
on that one. No, I actually remembered them. You said 2000 the last one. I did cheat on that one to do the math.
And I liked this movie. And I think, is it this one that I said, oh, he can always depend on his like handler at IMF. Like he can always trust him. Right, Domingo?
Oh, God, that was amazing.
Beginning of the movie, and then it turns out that he backstabs Ethan.
There was his handler the whole time.
I was like, what? I got up and started screaming at the TV.
And like, what are you were like 20 minutes in the movie? You're like, thank God Ethan can always count on his handler. And I was like, yep, I agree. And Musgrave is the best.
I will say, Philip Seymour Hoffman, because you have to say all three names when you're talking about him.
Like Seal.
Great villain. Great. Like, I wish his character was fleshed out more throughout the movie. Very ruthless, creepy. At first, I was like, why does everybody think this guy's the best villain ever?
He does a great disconnected.
You just look at his eyes.
Yeah, it's just flat.
He does not care.
Yeah.
He will kill puppies.
Right, well, there's the scene where he's like, oh, that was fun.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck, dude.
Woo. I just got shivers.
Because I remember the dead look. Like, I can't even do it justice. I just remember the dead look in his eyes. I'm just like, okay, well done. Golf claps.
And I felt bad because Ethan, in the beginning of the movie, he's getting ready to get married. He's met a woman he wants to settle down with. He doesn't want to do IMF, which, by the way, confused the hell out of me because I thought he is like forced into IMF because of his past.
Listen,
but
you
it
saved
doesn't.
the world a couple of times. You get a break.
You get a break, okay. And then they have to drag him back in, and then I think it's when they have Philip Seymour Hoffman's villain on there, who on a plane, and they mention Ethan's name to him, or one of the characters says Ethan, like Ethan, don't kill him, or
like,
something. Victor,
far.
it was like, don't throw him out, don't kill him. And I was like, oh no, why did you say his name?
Never give them information.
If you're this like,
don't get in the wagon.
Super smart, federal funded, like secret agent.
Listen, in the heat of the moment, the guy who always keeps his shit was getting ready to throw the person they needed out of an airplane.
Why don't you use code names on these things though?
What do you want him to call himself? Tiger Strike? But
I'm saying, like, so that the villains don't have a way to trace back to like people you love.
I hear what you're saying. Let me game this out for you.
Okay, please do.
Dragon, no, don't do it. Like, it just takes the oomph out of the scene.
But I mean, even having your team when you are first introduced to each other, why don't you just use code names? Why do you go by Ethan? Like when Ethan first meets Victor,
you assume Ethan is his real name.
I'm sure, but that's the name he legally is going by as a civilian.
Well, I don't know if he's legally going by it.
As a civilian, he is. Okay, I digress. All right. So there is one stunt that he did that I looked up for this movie. I'm sure he did a couple of them, but the first one, the main one was when they have Philip Seymour Hoffman captured on the what's it called? The bridge. They're transporting him to the scene, and it gets attacked with all the missiles and the drones.
And they yank him into that car.
Or drones, yes. Yeah. There's a scene where a missile strikes a car next to Ethan, and he's like thrown to the
in
side.
between the car and the missile. Yeah,
he's
he
like
gets
yanked.
Launched.
Tom Cruise actually did that stunt where they actually like yanked him.
I'm sure he actually broke the car as well. When he's
probably like, if that's really honestly the only stunt he did in that movie, I'm like, maybe he took 3 as like, you know what? I want a break. I'm gonna give myself a break.
There was another stunt in that movie. That was the only one.
That's the biggest one that when I was looking up that is confirmed he did. I'm sure he did other ones in this movie.
I'm sure there's a lot of them.
But that's like the big one that everybody was pointing to. Unless you have something to add.
No, I can't think of anything on the top of my head. I mean, 3 is, to me, again, 1 and 2 are fine movies. I don't really truly have a problem with them. As low as I grade 2, but yes, 3 is where it starts to take
accelerate.
Off.
Yes. And
3 is where they really accept the mission.
This is where Simon Pegg's character is first introduced. Benji. Yep.
And who doesn't love Simon Pegg?
I love Simon Pegg. I think he's great in almost everything. Again, great in almost everything I've seen. I don't think I've ever been disappointed.
It's kind of like acting bacon. You add him to everything, he makes it better.
Like Alan
Tudyk.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's not my line. I stole it. Somebody else said that about Alan Tudyk, and I was like, that's accurate.
And I will say, like, again, the villain was really good in this movie. I wish he was a little fleshed out, a little bit more.
Because he was so good, you wanted to flesh out.
But he wasn't like the real villain of it, because it turned out that he was betrayed by his handler.
He was the main antagonist, but he wasn't the true villain.
To it.
Yeah.
But I would give this guy 4 out of 5.
You know, 4 out of 5? I'd probably give it a 4 out of 5 because there was just so many great parts in this movie. Just the filming in general. Of course, you're always going to have your obligatory Mission Impossible, you know, car chase, motorcycle chase scenes, whatever it may be, or unless you're an old Indiana Jones, then you're in a tuk-tuk.
It was definitely the saddest one out of all because he has to give up his wife.
Mm-hmm. But then you also have awesome parts. Like, I love the part like when he's trying to get his protege out in the beginning.
Oh, right.
Yes. And he rescues her, and like, oh gosh, like the defibrillator gets there right at the last second. But she was very
what's her name? Carrie
Russell. Yeah. And the way her eye goes. And I was just like, I knew it was coming, and I turned to look at you because that is severe for where Mission Impossible had been at that point.
Yeah. I would say 3.
That was a little brutal.
As we said, it is escalated the series for it. It's like it's a completely different movie from 1 and 2. I
also love the scene when, you know, they're escaping. He gives her the pistol. He's got, I think he has like an MP5. And they get down to the one guy, and I was like, oh, here's the scene. I love this. And he's like, how much do you have left? And he looks, nothing in the magazine. He's got 1 in the chamber. Enough. Poof. Just pops out and shoots the guy one time. Just you just needed the 1 bullet, you know, whatever, however the line went. That part was great. I loved that.
I will say 3 also, I think, sets the tone for the rest of the series.
Well, 3 does something else too, where I think this is where they really start bringing in more. Listen, I know that there are side team members in 1 and 2, obviously, but I feel like 3 is because Benji becomes like a permanent addition.
Yeah,
I feel like 3 is where they really start ramping up the team members to me.
Yeah, because 1 and 2, other than Victor, it's replaceable teammates in a sense. Like they don't kind of follow over to the next movie. But this is where we got Benji, Victor.
Which made me a little sad because I loved Maggie Q in that. I thought she was awesome.
I know, you couldn't stop talking about her the whole time we watch it. It's okay. I get it. We're going to get to Fallout.
Pretty ladies in pretty dresses, and then she does the cool Lambo scene. But I like that car.
I like that car. All right. We're going to hop into 4. So 4 gets an actual like title. So it's not just Mission Impossible 4.
Ghost Protocol.
It's Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. Benji's a bigger character in this, Simon Pegg. And then we have Hawkeye as well, Jeremy Renner. Yes, she's just Hawkeye to me.
Always Hawkeye.
Directed by Brad Bird. That's a weird name.
Bird is the word.
Bird is the word. 4. So, blamed for a terrorist attack on the Kremlin. Hunt and the entire IMF agency is disavowed by the U.S. government while the president initiates the Ghost Protocol. Forced to go off the grid, left without resources or backup, Hunt must somehow clear the agency's name and prevent another attack. Complicating matters even more, Ethan must undertake the impossible mission with a group of fellow IMF fugitives whose actual motives are suspect.
Womp womp. That's because remember Jeremy Renner's a little. You don't quite know where he's at the whole time. Until you find out at the end.
And then is this the one where we meet the British IMF agent too?
No, that's not until Rogue Nation.
You sure?
Yes.
You're right. Okay, I'm reading ahead of time. Rebecca Ferguson.
Yep, Rebecca Ferguson as, was it Ilsa
Faust.
Who is probably my favorite non-Ethan Hunt character, but we'll get there.
All right, how old is Tom Cruise? This one's 2011.
2011. Oh, I don't remember how far the other one was. It sounds like it's a bigger jump though. Where was he at last time? He's 44. I'm gonna say he is 48.
Nope, 49.
I missed it by that much. There you go. A little Get Smart reference in our spy episode. Spy episode. What, you like spy episode?
Get Smart, man. I haven't seen that in a long time.
Yep.
What's the one? Is Get Smart the one they talk into the shoe in the phone? I remember the old black and white series. I used to watch that Nick at Night.
And then Steve Carell did the
awful movie.
Yeah. But he does the great Cone of Silence part where he's like so excited to be like a field agent and the Cone of Silence fails and everybody hears him. That's the scene I remember from the Get Smart movie.
That series was great. What did we also see recently that we noticed that there was a movie made of it? Dragnet.
Yeah, I didn't even know they made. I never liked that. It wasn't even new, clearly. But right? I didn't even know they had a Dragnet movie. I completely.
I watched that as a kid too, as a series.
I was not a Dragnet family.
Nick at Night, man. All right. So this one was pretty cool because they definitely go bigger with explosions and stunts.
This is really where the budget starts to.
Yes, they're like, you know what? Let's throw some money in on this, right? Mm-hmm. The biggest stunt in this, and you can definitely guess what it was if you remember the movie clearly. What do you think was the biggest stunt in this movie? This is
the one where he climbs the Burj Khalifa.
Yep.
Which to me is 1,000 times more terrifying than jumping off of a mountain with a parachute.
Yeah, but
listen, if you had to wingsuit like in between two like cliff faces and like thread the needle, listen, I get it. But free climbing one of the tallest buildings in the world.
But I'm sure they have a protocol to catch him or something.
I'm sure they did too. But that's the one that's going to put grapes in my pants.
Didn't have any like net or anything.
Yeah, he had a parachute.
What if it didn't work?
It's literally a net.
What if it didn't work? Tell me what happened.
I'll tell you exactly what happens. Then you use the backup chute.
Pancake Tom Cruise.
Every parachute's got a backup chute.
They also destroyed 6 bikes too out of that too as well. Yeah, I know, for those 6 takes.
I remember watching it the first time. We were watching the bike just go sailing off the cliff.
We watched the behind the scenes for it. We're getting ahead of ourselves. We should be talking about freaking Ghost Protocol.
Can you tell which ones we like the best?
Yes. Yes. Which Ghost Protocol was okay.
But you know what was my favorite part of Ghost Protocol?
I was a little annoyed with Jeremy Renner's
I got to tell you, the
character.
best part of Ghost Protocol is when everyone listening, remember to like, comment, and subscribe.
Right.
Don't forget to hit that bell notification to let you know anytime we have new material popping up on the channel. But yeah, that actually had nothing to do with Ghost Protocol. That was just me doing a thing.
I like it.
Thanks,
I like
guys.
it. Thank
We
you for
appreciate it.
remembering.
It all helps.
Ghost Protocol was okay. It was okay.
Well, I feel like Ghost Protocol, because now you're getting
It's
to a
very
point where it's like they really start just stacking up and kind of really going together. It starts to become more of a singular story than
each one's a
each one
different
being
mission.
a separate mission. Yes, because this
There's
is
an overall-
really where they start kicking off the return of Spectre.
That's true.
Mhm.
Right. I forgot about that. Wow. I had seen these movies. Spectre's the next one.
But you find out at the end of this one, they literally, it's like one of the last
Right,
lines of the movie,
that's
like
true.
it's Spectre.
Easter eggs. Right. I forgot about that. You know what? It's weird. Other than the building climbing and, the opening was pretty cool with the woman assassin taking out the other IMF agent.
Oh, come on. He didn't need a specialized contact. I told you that woman was an assassin
Yeah, what?
from like 60 yards away.
Oh, strange walking down an alleyway
Yeah,
and there's
let me
like
go down a dirty alleyway and there's a pretty woman who's definitely not going to shoot the
who's staring me dead in the eyes. Yeah. And shoot the heck. And then there's the
she
whole
must want to date him.
back and forth with the other female IMF agent who wants revenge for her partner.
What was her name? Was it Miranda? Oh gosh, I can't remember her name. I'm like jumping now.
It's okay. But the whole different hotel, the hotel scene was really cool. The different levels, like one of them they were like.
It's
don't know how to
amazing.
explain it,
No, I know what you're saying. How you have like three different things all going on at the same time, but they're all
connected.
Yeah, it's intricate in terms of like nothing can get completed unless all three of them kind of complete at the same time.
Yeah,
which is actually kind of a theme with them. They love doing like, we all have to be separated but complete something at the exact same time.
And then also Jeremy Renner's character holding the guilt that he thinks that he ended up killing
Being
Cruz's.
a sad sack.
Yeah, being a real depressing.
Apparently he remembered Budapest very differently.
Yes, apparently. Was Budapest in one of these movies, I think? No, I don't think
the first
so.
one? Hold on, we're doing
Or
Budapest.
maybe. Are you doing Budapest now?
Now I'll be a Marvel spy now.
Okay.
That's how you know I'm in hiding in a Marvel movie.
So, as if anybody can tell, we're already on movie number 4 or 5. This is 5. Sorry, number 5. No, 4.
We're on 4.
We're on 4. Thank you.
Ghost Protocol.
4, and Ethan has still survived each movie, so that's a theme. Just FYI,
Wait,
everybody.
you don't know that it's not Benji in a mask the whole time pretending to be Ethan?
Benji's a little bit taller than him, though. Anybody's taller than Tom Cruise, though, right? I think. For the most part, he's a short king.
Nobody's taller than a man jumping off of a mountain.
That's true. This is probably why he's an adrenaline junkie, because he's a short guy. The Napoleon complex.
He's just trying to get to Xenu faster.
Mm-hmm. All right, are we done with 4? We want to move on to 5? Your favorite?
5 is my favorite.
4 is okay. I'll give it a 3 out of 5.
What do you rate 4? 3 out of 5?
3 out of 5. It's all right. It's solid. It's not the best, but it's not the worst.
Well, it's kind of like I want to expound on it a little bit more. It's kind of like I find the characters, the stunts, the action. I feel like everything was upgraded in general. As a
the
whole.
budget was definitely
everything about
way
this
more
movie
than the
was
last
just way
movies.
better by comparison.
The tech was better.
But that said, I didn't love the team as much in that movie.
Interesting, because this is where
I liked Maggie Q, but like I said, but she had very little like actually going on.
maybe
in the
that's why
movie.
she didn't move on.
You had Jeremy Renner just being sad
Renner.
Hawkeye the whole time.
I know.
And then
Poor
you
guy.
had the woman whose name I can't remember being they murdered my boyfriend in the beginning of this sad the whole time. And I'm like, cool.
But yet flirting with Ethan the whole entire time.
I don't know, she was flirting with him the whole
there was some flirting
time.
energy there.
No, there's definitely some flirt. I mean, it's Ethan Hunt. Have you seen him?
I get it. Remember what I said? Start off, we go, yes, I understand. I understand. I guess in grief, people have, they do different things with grief, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sometimes you
don't feel the
cry.
chemistry.
Sometimes you kick a woman out of a window.
Do you feel the chemistry is not there yet with the team?
Some of the chemistry was there. It's just, I don't know, something about it just didn't gel for me. It could have been in general, I kind of didn't love the characters. Like, they could be fine. It could just be a me thing.
Well, I think also Simon Pegg's character, Benji, was kind of finding his like place in the whole
But that's
team.
literally Benji's, like, it's the best part. That's his joke in every single movie. It's just like, he's always Like, oh, I'm going to try this new thing. Guys, you wouldn't believe how hard this was. Meanwhile, Tom almost dies in every single one of these events.
Right. That's true. Okay. Do you have anything else to say about 4?
I would rate.
Oh yeah,
I would rate Ghost Protocol. I'd probably rate Ghost Protocol 4.
A 4? Okay.
4 for 4.
All right. We're gonna move on to number 5. Your favorite one.
Yes, Rogue Nation.
Rogue Nation, 2015. I
somehow saw Ghost Protocol. Almost completely forgot most of the movie. Only to realize when I was rewatching with you, never saw Rogue Nation.
Well, this is also where Christopher McQuarrie, I think is.
I believe you're correct. McQuarrie? Is it McQuarrie?
Has taken over the Mission Impossibles because he directed both Rogue Nation, Fallout, Dead Reckoning Part 1. So we have the same director for the next few movies. How old is Tom Cruise in this movie? 2015.
He was 49 before. So what? That's going to make him 54?
53.
53.
Yes. Biggest stunt? Holding onto a plane in the opening.
That is actually one of my favorite stunts. That is your favorite. I know. I like that stunt a lot.
Just holding that whole movie.
But I understand he's like strapped in, but like think about the actual pressure exerted on you to have to hold on to the exterior of an airplane.
Just like gripping on like
just
that.
With his hands.
So with the IMF now disbanded and Ethan Hunt out in the cold, a new threat called the Syndicate soon emerges. The Syndicate is a network of highly skilled operatives who are dedicated to establish a new world order via escalating series of terrorist attacks. Faced with what may be the most impossible mission yet, of course, because they're all
each one's got to be more impossible than the last.
Ethan gathers his team, joins forces with Ilsa. Is it Ilsa?
Ilsa Faust.
Ilsa Faust,
one
played
of my
by
favorite
Rebecca Ferguson, a disavowed British agent who may or may not be a member of this deadly rogue nation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So this is where I feel also the comedic relief is amped up.
It does start coming in a little bit more now, and I think
everybody's found their spot.
But I think some of it too also probably has to do with like Simon Pegg and his background probably lightening things up.
That's true.
I guarantee he was like just randomly ad-libbing things on set.
Probably, but it's because to me, Tom Cruise doesn't come off as a comedian, even though he's been in comedies. Well, can't say that because Jerry Maguire. I like that movie. But I feel everybody is on the same page and on the same beat with everybody. Like everybody is, seasoned. They know who their characters are. They know their attitudes. They know how they're supposed to be. They know how they would react in this. So yes.
Well, I was a big fan of Rogue Nation because for me, it kind of did what I don't want to say this. It's kind of like towards the end of like the Marvel films, when you started getting into like Infinity War and Endgame, right? Like you have all these other movies and you get to see how amazing, he is as a spy and his team is as spies this whole time. And then you meet, what was his name? Solomon Lane.
Yeah.
Who is probably one of my favorite movie villains ever.
Carries over into the next movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
But, it was one of the things I really liked about this is you've always had Ethan kind of being the top. He was always the guy. He was never not going to win. And then you get Solomon Lane, who is essentially like his equal, like a dead rival right there, like front and center as the villain. But then you also get Ilsa Faust, who is kind of also an equal. So it was really interesting to have like the good guy, the bad guy, and unknown in between, all kind of like what's going to happen, what's going where.
Who's working for who's with what side.
I can't imagine how much more I would have enjoyed Rogue Nation if I hadn't accidentally missed it and seen Fallout before it.
Oh, before. I could see that. It's very interesting. I will say the beginning, there's that one scene where he goes to get his mission from a record store and he goes into the booth and it gets locked and filled with smoke and he has to watch the other agent be shot in the head by the villain. And and you think like, oh, he's going to break this door down. It's Ethan. He's going to do something about it. No, he's just going to
locked in, getting gassed.
He's just like, and then the ending of this movie counters it too with the whole,
with the way they catch him at the end.
Yes. Which that was really, really cool. That was really cool. But I would say, yeah, Rogue Nation probably is my favorite one out of all of them. Maybe, I don't know. Fallout holds a dear place in my heart.
But well, does Fallout hold a dear place in your heart, or does Henry Cavill?
Henry Cavill, maybe.
Well, there you go.
I know.
So there's nothing wrong with that. It's okay.
I know. But yes, and especially with Elsa, because she in the beginning is part of the terrorist network, but she's been kind of disemboweled.
She's working
from her
both
own.
sides. You don't really know.
But her
what
government
she
is working
where she's
against
going.
her too on it as well, because they're the ones that, spoiler alert, the British decided to start the syndicate as an experiment, and then it kind of overtook itself.
They
didn't want
secreted away like a whole $2.4 billion.
Yeah, they didn't want.
Like
they were trying to get money for it and stuff. Yeah, this movie was great. Everybody was on cue with everything.
I loved the whole orchestra scene. Everything leading up to it, with Benji working with the CIA, winning. I'm doing air quotes here. Winning the tickets, only to get a handoff when he shows up, and then he realizes that he's working. Then you've got Ethan working in the background. You pointed out how much you love the fact that he's like trying to avoid all the cameras and doing all this and that. Benji couldn't even find him on the cameras. And it was really cool to see the antithesis that is Solomon Lane kind of like set up all these redundancies for Ethan winning. Is like, well, we have one assassin. Of course, we're testing the loyalty of this assassin. So we'll have an assassin for the assassin in case he needs to kill two people.
For the assassin.
And then and then Ethan kind of beats those odds, and they were looking to kill some government official of some kind. I can't remember who he was off the top of my head right now. But even then it's like, oh, Ethan wins by getting one of the rifles, winging him in the arm. So he just gets a minor injury, but grievous enough that he has to leave. Then he's leaving, but then the car was rigged to explode. So it's like, Ethan was never going to win that.
Yeah. I really like the ending of this movie, especially when the villain was chasing Ethan, getting ready to go
when
down.
He slides into that hole.
And then he goes down after him and then realizes he's in actual like glass case of emotion. And smoke.
The emotion he's feeling is frustration.
Yes.
Maybe
he just needs a scotch and read poetry. That's all he needs to do.
And Baxter.
But that was great. I loved how it mirrored the beginning of it with Ethan being stuck in the phone booth, and then mirroring it with the end with getting him stuck in a glass case of emotion.
Well, and keep in mind too, when Ethan was stuck in the record listening room, I love it too, because he puts on the thing and it's Solomon Lane giving you the mission debrief, and then like halfway through he's like, oh, by the way, this is the syndicate.
Yeah.
You are going to work for us, and
boom.
Yeah, right. But so here he is locked in the glass case. And he executes the other IMF agent who's working at the record store with a silenced pistol. And here he is trapped in there with his silenced pistol trying to shoot them. But alas, he is locked away and unable to do them harm.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, I would say 5 is up there.
I think Rogue Nation, getting ahead of 6 and 7 here that's going to be my favorite. I'm going to give, I've been kind of on the numbers here, but I'm going to go ahead and give 5 of 5.
You're giving 5 of 5?
I think, I'm not going to say it's perfect. No movie's perfect. I don't believe in actually giving perfect scores, but I'll give it a 4.9.
4.5.
Okay.
4.5.
Okay.
Maybe it might change later. Okay, we're going to move into 6. Or do you have anything else to say?
No, I think I'm good for right now.
Also, by the way, I do like the fact in 5, Elsa and Ethan aren't a romantic relationship in there. It's more of a camaraderie, more like a friendship, a mutual respect.
But it's even kind of like a rivalry, because they're working towards a similar goal, but still separate.
Yes, but there's like a mutual respect between the two of them, which I like. I mean, I know further down in the movies, there's kind of a hint of a romantic like interest between the two of them, but I like in this movie that they don't just like make her a love interest on her own. She's a badass woman. She can handle her own, she's girl power, the whole 9 yards. But true girl power, like true femininity.
You mean when she was in that sexy yellow dress and then she pulled out that Yaz flute sniper rifle?
Yes. That's how I want to be, in a sexy yellow dress and be able to change a flute into a gun. And guns and sexy dresses.
I think they go together.
Yes, they do. 100%. You got to have the movement, right? Now, I'm not talking like really heavy, sexy dresses, like the really like heavy gowns. I'm talking about the flowy ones.
Oh, you got to be able to move, the high kicks.
Exactly.
Well, because like the one thing, if I had to like ding Rebecca Ferguson's character for something, and really it's like the fight choreographer, she has like one move the whole time, which is doing I know I keep making Marvel references, but it's just easy for people. The Black Widow, where she like jumps up on him and is going go for like arm bars and stuff, where she's doing like flippy jujitsu around people.
Yeah.
And it's like she does it like 3 or 4 times, which is also how she ends up finishing like her one big fight at the end of that movie. And it was great. Don't get me wrong, but I'm like, she has one move.
Sometimes if you have a move
that's
and
my critique. 4.8. There you go.
You've mastered it, use that move.
Hey, if it works.
You know?
If it ain't
I'd like
broke,
to
don't
see you
fix it.
try it.
Yeah, I'd like to see
In a
me.
yellow dress.
Hey, listen, I'd like to see me try it too.
Okay, we're going to move on to 6.
All right, internet, you get us to 1,000 likes here. In 2 weeks,
likes.
I will find a replica of that dress, and I will attempt to do this maneuver. We're not going to get 1,000 likes. I feel pretty confident.
Okay, I thought you're serious? Are you serious?
I mean, listen, the internet pulls it together.
Shake on it.
Hold on, I want to make sure it's on camera.
Okay,
We got
1,000 likes on
1,000
this video.
likes in the first 2 weeks.
First 2 weeks, you didn't put that
I did say
stipulation
that. Rewind it back.
in. First 2 weeks?
Oh, what was that was actually one of your favorite. The which movie was it where it starts in the Russian prison? Is that the third one?
I think that's the third one where he's at the camera.
Yeah, where he's getting in a, I mean, he's getting in a fight with Benji.
Yeah. He's like, open
No,
the
that
door.
was Ghost Protocol because
Open the door. Yes.
Because yeah.
Open the door.
Yeah, I know what it means. I'm not gonna
do it. Okay, 2 weeks. You were talking to a social media mastermind.
Not
Not really,
If you
but
can social media mastermind it, go for it.
I will schedule these tweets out in advance every hour. Like this video so my husband can wear a yellow dress and try this move.
Rebecca, let me know where you got that dress so I can.
All right, 6. So 6 was the one I was introduced to in this entire
Fallout.
series. Yes, Fallout. Ethan Hunt and the IMF team joined forces with the CIA assassin August Walker to prevent a disastrous epic proportions. Arms dealer John Lark and a group of terrorists known as the Apostles plan to use 3 plutonium cores for a simulation
Plutonium cores. I got you.
nuclear attack on the Vatican. Why it's always the Vatican? Jerusalem and Mecca, Saudi Arabia. When the weapons go missing, Ethan and his crew find themselves in a desperate race against time to prevent them from falling into the wrong hands.
Well, they had them in the beginning.
then
It's like
they
the drop
lost
off,
them.
but they lost them protecting Ving Rhames.
Yeah.
Do I need to switch hats again?
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Keep going.
Yes, that's true. In the beginning, they did have them. They were making the deal. They were faking as arms dealers, but things go sideways. And instead of getting them back, Ethan decided to protect his team.
Yep, which is totally understandable because, I mean, it's kind of his family at that point.
Yeah. I mean, if you're not, I wouldn't say not allowed, but if you don't have a family outside of this, if you're unable to be like a normal civilian,
It's your team.
They literally become your family. It's your team. It's the people you interact with day in, day out. It's not like you can go home and tell your wife like, hey, I disarmed a nuclear bomb today.
I whacked 30 guys and disarmed a bomb.
Yeah. So like
I also stopped a contagion from wiping out the entire world.
these are the only people that actually know what's going on day to day.
How was your day?
How old was Tom Cruise? By the way, Rogue Nation, Fallout 2018.
Well, he was 53 in the last one?
Yes.
Jeez, Tom. Making us all look bad.
I know.
If he was 53 in the last one, I'm going to cut this a little short. I'm going to go 57.
56.
I wanted to only go 3 years and I went 4 at the end.
So
I blame myself.
2 of the biggest
Let's go with your
stunts.
first
What do you
guess,
think?
kids.
What do you think are the 2 biggest stunts in this?
This is the Fallout. This is going to be where he's the helicopter.
Yeah, the helicopter chase at the end.
Yep. What am I forgetting in the beginning?
The Halo jump.
Right. I forgot about the Halo jump through the storm.
The Halo jump is my favorite scene because because he saves
God,
Henry
just
Cavill's
want to beat the
character.
shit out of Henry Cavill after that. I'm
he
like,
saves him.
well done, Henry. I mean, it was perfectly acted, which is why I
That
wanted to beat the
mustache
shit
is
out
great.
of you. Yeah.
He saves him, and then when they finally land roughly, he goes, "Oh, I think your oxygen.
I think you lost your oxygen tank."
After Ethan had saved him for a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he fixes his oxygen tank before he
Yes.
even jumps.
Yes.
And then he pulls the
Pulls it
plug through,
out.
like, screw you. I'm
Well,
definitely not John Lark.
spoiler alert. Yes, he's John Lark. So at every turn, he's trying to screw over Ethan. And he's also feeding the IMF or the government
CIA.
false information. CIA.
Angela Bassett is the new head of the CIA because Alec Baldwin's in the last one. She took over for him as the director of the CIA.
Alec Baldwin is in this one too. He gets
is.
shot.
Yep.
He gets
Shot?
killed.
No, he gets stabbed.
Stabbed. I thought he gets shot.
He gets knifed in the gut.
Oh, so he only knows how to shoot. That's all. Okay. Took you a second there, didn't it?
Well, he may not be a great champ, but he knows how to shoot at least once.
Yeah. Okay. But yes, so he gets stabbed, shot, whatever. He gets killed in the beginning of the movie. So
Stabified.
Yes, CIA kind of takes over, and Henry Cavill's character has been feeding false information about Ethan, saying Ethan is actually John Lark, because it all makes sense because John Lark is this mysterious person. So why couldn't it be Ethan this whole time? You know, he's got the means.
Isn't that the perfect cover? He takes up, he pretends to be the asset that he is.
Exactly. This also is an introduction to Vanessa Kirby's character.
Yep, the White Widow.
The White Widow. I don't know. So I think she's attractive, but it's weird.
She's got Uncanny Valley going on.
But she's attractive in a way for it.
No, she's definitely attractive. And I don't know, was the makeup they did in the next movie? It was weird. It was a little more jarring.
Oh, I have a favorite scene in the next movie.
I am more concerned with the complete topic change of the fact that they want her for Sue Storm.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
And I also liked in this movie, they brought back Ethan's wife at the end. You know, they kind of, I think this is the ending to that storyline in a sense, like a closure to it. Because you find out that she's been doing what she loves as a doctor.
She got remarried. Uh-oh.
Yeah, you know, seems like a swell guy, you know, of course the ex comes back and, you know, butterflies start pouring.
You know, I thought that was, I'm jumping into the end here, but she actually, like, in retrospect, ends up being one of my favorite parts about that movie, because she could have just been the sacrificial MacGuffin, like, oh no, if Ethan doesn't do something, like, everybody's going to die, including the woman he loves. But yes, she actually is like, well, shit, I'm going to die. I kind of know what's going on. I may as well go see if I can be of assistance. And then she goes and helps disarm.
Yeah, Victor helps.
I thought that was awesome. She didn't just have to be hapless and helpless.
Yeah. Yeah, this movie is great, man.
And of course,
perfect.
More Ilsa Faust. Always a good time.
Yes, that's true. And Ilsa,
and more Solomon Lane.
Yeah, and Ilsa gets right in the beginning. They have to
let him go. They got to break him out,
and then recapture him.
And then Benji has to pretend to be him,
and then kills him. And yeah. That's really, I forgot about that. Yeah. Sorry, I was so focused on.
No, you're good. I mean,
Henry Cavill.
No, I mean, be focused on Henry Cavill. I get it.
The angry mustache of Henry Cavill. The man is
marvelous with that mustache. First off, he should be rocking it all the time.
I know. Oh, secondly, and the pumping scene.
We should have just had Superman with a mustache. It would have been freaking great. For those of you who don't remember, they had to do reshoots for, was it Batman versus Superman?
So the studio for Batman versus Superman wanted to do reshoots, but he was already filming for Mission Impossible. And I believe the studio for Mission Impossible is a smaller one than obviously what the WB is. And they're like, you know, we'll pay for a makeup artist to be on set to reapply a mustache, like whatever. Can we get it? And the smaller studio is like, nope, F you, Warner Brothers, not going to happen. Sorry. So they actually had to go back and digitally remove the mustache from those reshoots. That's
why he looks so weird in those.
Yeah, he's got like a scenes. Weird like. Yeah.
Yeah, I am John Lark. Hello.
Yes.
But yeah, no, we're just getting way off topic there for a second. But I mean, Fallout was so good. The tension was there again, the action, the stunts, everything,
the
continue to upgrade.
That helicopter chase scene was crazy. That was really intense. You're at the edge of your seat. You're like, how can helicopters do this?
That crazy son of a bitch is trying to ram us out of the sky.
Right? I was like, holy cow. Yeah, fast pace. This one I would say is probably the most fast paced one out of all of them. Very like, just scene after scene. Like you're not bored. It's just cut. Let's keep going. There's no, the build up to it is just so intense because in each scene there's something new to look at. I liked it. I don't know if I would give it a 5 though.
I wouldn't give it a 5. I think it's
5 again. I would do. I don't know. 5, maybe 5. I do like Henry Cavill.
I'm gonna give it a 4.5.
4.5. Okay.
But yeah, no, I think overall, I think Fallout was an excellent movie. We were discussing so they were listening to all the different theme songs on the way in from each of the movies. I think the actual, like the standard, like dun, 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 dun. Overall, I think Fallout probably has the best one. There's something just very like dark and sinister and dire about the way they did it. And so it was, to me, that one really stood out the most when you're actually listening to them back to back to back.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, when you move on to 7, I think 7 has the best intro because I kind of like how they did open up with kind of like a drum
corps set.
Yeah.
Jowly Tom Cruise.
Jowly. Listen, we should all hope to look as good as
I get
Tom
it.
Cruise and
I get
Haley,
it. I'm sure
Haley
I'm gonna
Atwell at that age.
Jowls down to here. Okay. Are we ready for 7? Ethan Hunt and the IMF team must track down a terrifying new weapon that threatens all humanity if it falls into the wrong hand. With the control of the future and the fate of the world at stake, a deadly race around the globe begins. Confronted by a mysterious all-power enemy, and Ethan is forced to consider that nothing can matter more than the mission, not even the lives of those he cares most about. Dun, dun, dun.
Off the bat, I think 7 has a little bit of an uphill battle.
Well, 7 is a part 1.
Exactly.
2. How old do you think Tom Cruise was while filming
in this movie? He's probably 69 years old.
61.
I mean, I was just making a joke.
And obviously, we know what the biggest stunt was. I mean, they did a behind-scenes video of it. It's the first scene they filmed.
I've talked about it like 14 times already in this episode.
Yeah, it's the first scene they filmed because probably if he had KO'd, they'd be like, okay, no dead.
What are you gonna do with the rest of the movie?
Yeah. Oh well. When watching the behind the scenes, they actually spent a couple of years prepping for this.
Mm-hmm.
I guess Tom really wanted to drive a motorcycle off a cliff. Hey,
he felt the need
reach for the
speed.
stars, my guy. And watching how they built the ramp too for it, because obviously in the movie the ramp is
how they built scaffolding on a mountaintop,
and it's like not that far in width.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean,
and there's no railings on the sides.
There's no way this thing was even 6 feet wide. This thing had to be what, like 4 feet wide?
One gust of wind, man.
Oh yeah, one good gust of wind.
This thing's probably moving, just swaying.
We would have gone from Mission Impossible to Top Gun 3.
Yeah, and he had to stay the bike in the center because again, it's not that wide, and then time it perfectly where he lets go and releases the bike, and then hits his parachute at a certain height.
I'll just never forget watching behind the scenes, not knowing that they did it 6 times, watching him do it the first time, then go, I think I can hold onto the bike a little bit longer. Let's do it again.
Yeah, well, he did it 6 times. Yeah. And what I like about
it, Tom Cruise thing to say.
When it translated into the movie, what I liked about it was that it was a comedic relief to it because Simon Pegg character Benji was trying to get Ethan, because he's going after a train, trying to cut off the train, like get to the train. He's like, okay, you're going
go straight.
Straight. I can't go straight. What do you mean? There's a cliff. Go, well.
Oh, sorry. I didn't have 3D mode enabled.
Yes.
Well, he kept getting it wrong. Like they had like north-south locked or something. Like,
well, this is also the movie that has the introduction of a villain being in AI. Remember? And one of the things that kind of irked me a little bit about this movie. What about
Small Soldiers?
Well,
remember Small Soldiers, the animated film?
Yes.
I mean, they all had
animated.
Well, yeah, the little action figures were
animated.
They're
little action figures, but yeah.
But they all had military AI in their brains. So technically not the first movie with AI is a villain.
Well,
you're way behind.
Okay,
that.
All right. Modern day
there's
AI.
There's going to be
How
a lot
about this?
of other movies than the one I've just stated.
What I think conspiracy theorists think AI
will be.
Yes.
Okay, fair.
In like a year. Okay.
It'll be action figures.
ChatGPT. But what I feel like the consistency of this villain was not graded throughout the whole movie. May I make my point? There is a scene where Benji has to get into a car that is self-driving, but yet is able to get to the destination without this AI. And this entire time, this whole movie, this AI has like been able to, interject in different technologies that they have been using, harm people, all this stuff. Yet you're telling me this AI is just going to let Benji just drive around it? I think it was a Tesla. Maybe it was, maybe not. Anyway, a self-driving car.
Well, I mean, it makes sense that Elon Musk would make the only vehicles that would be AI proof.
That can't be AI
so there you go. Problem solved.
And
thanks, Elon.
A lot of answers, a lot of unanswered, right? A lot of, because it's a part 1. Do you think they're going to kill off a major character next
You're only saying this because I think that they will. First and foremost, I think this could be I think part 2 could be the last one for Tom.
Well, also with the strike, I don't know how long it's going to take, because I know they were prepping. They were getting ready to film. I think they might have filmed a little bit of it.
Well, it was supposed to release in 2024, so some of the work has to be done.
Yeah, but they're not going to release it until the strike is over.
Literally the only thing that we're waiting on from the strike.
the only thing, right?
Can you guys just break strike long enough for
Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning 2?
Dead Reckoning 2 to come out, guys?
Not any of the other movies. No,
it's fine.
okay.
It's fine.
Just Dead Reckoning. Okay. Yeah. Okay, hey, I get it. All right, that's fine. Who do you think they're going to kill off? Do you think they will kill off if this is officially the last Mission Impossible of Tom Cruise? Because obviously, if this is last Tom Cruise, give it about 10 years, they'll probably reboot it with some other person.
I'm calling it now. Ving Rhames is going to take a bullet for Simon Pegg.
Interesting.
He's gonna take some kind of mortal injury
because in this movie
to save Simon Pegg.
They faked out Rebecca Ferguson's character's death in the beginning.
Right.
This is your eye patch.
Yeah, and that's my.
Here's your layup.
Yeah, that's my. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, that's my alley-oop. That was the other fun fact that I had ready to go was, when she's in the desert and she's doing the cool sniper scene and she's got the eye patch on to help focus her vision, and it was really just because they weren't trying to make her look extra tactical. They had a problem where she's kind of like you, where she can't really wink.
What do you mean kind of like me?
Do you want to wink for the camera? No, you have sunglasses on, you're hiding it.
Okay,
so she can't close one eye at a time. And so they're like, okay, we're gonna get the camera angle from this way. And so she's like close one eye, and she's like, like she couldn't do it. They're like, okay, we'll try it from the other side. Okay, let's get an eye patch on.
Eye patch makes her look badass.
It does. No, 1,000%.
I think so. They copped out her death.
I agree. They copped out her death because she's my favorite character.
I think she's going to be the one that dies. I think they're going to set it up that there's no way because we already faked you out that she died, but she didn't really die. So they brought her back.
But I thought she didn't really die, and then she did die.
No, she didn't die in this movie.
I thought she died at the very end of this movie.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
She absolutely did.
She brought a what? A knife to a sword fight or something?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Sorry. I've only seen the movie once in theaters. Okay.
Well, no, that's what it was. She had a sword and he had a knife, and I'm like, why are you fighting him at such close range?
That's
like, you
right.
You remember, I couldn't stop talking about it. I'm like, you are right on top of him, and you have 3 extra feet of range on him.
Who was the villain? I forgot. They brought him. They kind of retconned.
They needed to personify the AI in some capacity. Give Ethan Hunt a face to fight.
Give him a human to fight, not a computer. But didn't they retcon his history? Or you don't really know.
Yeah, there's just
Gabriel.
More, yeah,
that's who it was. Right, I forgot about that.
He was very wooden. He could have been a computer.
Yeah, that's true. Very forgetful, apparently. And my favorite scene with Vanessa Kirby in this movie is when she's drugged and then she comes out of it on the train and she's got snot. She's like, ah. She looks like she just woke like an actual
like a normal person waking up.
Like a normal person, which I liked. Like a normal person, which I was laughing. I loved it. Yes, that was great. Oh, and then how did we completely
gloss over the last movie where he meets her and they have that awesome action scene? I was just thinking the same thing.
Gloss over Haley Atwell.
You can't gloss over Haley Atwell. It's not possible.
We did. How did we gloss over
Haley Atwell? Oh, no, I was just waiting to
Atwell?
talk about her. There was no glossing happening. I mentioned her earlier.
That's true. And then the Mantis.
Pom Klementif?
Thank you for saying that name.
You're welcome. I don't know if I got it right, but I'm pretty close. I feel confident enough.
I like that alleyway scene with her and Tom Cruise because, again, because we live in the day and age of Mary Sue's nowadays, where any woman can overcome a man, especially a man with a legacy IP like Ethan Hunt, and a legacy character from an IP. And I liked that. While that fight was really good, she put up a good fight overall. Ethan Hunt's a man, so was able to knock her out.
Well, but
didn't kill her.
Well, yeah. What I liked about that fight scene was where she chose to pick her fight was in tighter quarters, theoretically giving her a little bit of advantage, in that fight versus someone who is going to be, potentially
brings
faster,
a sword to a
stronger,
knife fight.
Yeah, faster and stronger than her. But yeah, that whole knife fight sword scene was all of that was avoidable.
With a gun?
Hey, I mean, with a gun. With
How does she not have a gun on her? That's what I want to know.
Oh, she probably got disarmed 13 times. It's Mission Impossible.
I mean, put a gun in your bra, put a gun in your boots. Women have advantages of putting their guns in places that men don't.
Where?
Our bras. Do you wear a bra?
Don't tell people my secrets.
Do you wear a bra? I'm serious. Like,
are my lines showing?
You could like squeeze one in there.
A little LCP 380.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Why not? Heck, I would even, women sometimes wear like a hair turban sometimes, like as a style. Sneak one in there.
I really thought you were going to go with like stabby, like chopsticks.
Oh, those two. Were you like, no, listen, if I am going to fight somebody with a knife, I'm bringing a gun. I'm not flexible. I am not.
My brain immediately went to Thomas Jane's Punisher when his car gets wrecked. Stupid shit. Bringing a knife to a gunfight. It's like a ballistic knife, so he fires the blade out at him and hits him in the throat.
I would do one of those, but I would not go sword to sword combat or knife to knife combat. I am not flexible. I'm left-handed. I don't know why, but I feel like blaming that. I would not. So like, I would run out of breath. I don't do cardio. I weight train. I don't do cardio. So like, I have so many disadvantages.
HEMA with me.
No, I just bring a gun to a knife fight. Over. Done.
You would think that, but there is such a thing as like I forget what the actual name for it, but it's kind of like the 21-foot rule. It's kind of like a general rule of thumb. There is a point where knives are in range are going to be way more effective than a gun. If
I shoot you in the head, no, it won't be.
Good luck shooting a moving target in the head.
Or shoot you in the arm that you're holding a knife.
Running at you.
Shoot you in the arm that you're holding a knife. So then you're like, ugh.
You sound like presidential candidates saying, shoot him in the leg. It'll be fine.
No. My thing is like, if I can't aim you at the head, I'm going to shoot you in the arm that you're holding a knife. Then you got to use your other arm that you're not, if you're right-handed and you're using your left hand, you're not going to be as, poignant.
This is not legal self-defense advice.
This is not. This is me. I'm sure I probably would.
But if it were, a self-defense instructor would tell you to always aim for center mass.
Oh, well.
It moves the least. It's the biggest target.
If you're coming at me with a knife,
this is not self-defense advice with Inside All Day. I have no legal standing in this.
But if you're coming at me with a knife, I want to make it hurt.
What does that even mean? You sound like a bad Bond villain. If you come at me with a knife, I want to make it hurt.
I want to make it hurt. Like, I'm not entering for center mass. I'm taking off each limb.
People would be going cut for cut, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very much so.
I don't know why we're doing a German terrorist.
I don't know why you're doing a German terrorist either. But yeah, so that's our Mission Impossible. That's 7.
That was 7. Okay, where do you rate 7?
Ooh, 7. Again, it's a part 1. A lot of answers. Obviously, we did
a lot of exposition, not a lot of
questions,
answers.
Not answers. Sorry, and also we forgot half of the movie until I looked up the cast.
That is true, and we did in fact, we even mentioned that we didn't really mention Haley Atwell, but I think in general she was really good.
You know what? What bothered me about that whole thing is that people were complaining about the age difference between Haley Atwell and Tom Cruise, and then I'm like, she's 40. I believe she's 41 years old, and he's 61. First of all, he doesn't look 61, okay?
No, he doesn't move like a 61-year-old.
All right. Second of all, she's 41 years old. It's not like she's an 18-year-old or 17-year-old. Like even if she was in her late 20s, I wouldn't care. But I'm like, she's 41 years old. Where's the problem here? Where's the issue?
I mean, I don't see the issue. The only person I could think of that would see the issue is, I can't think of his name. What's his face that stops dating women when they turn 23?
Oh, Leonardo DiCaprio. Oh, because she's not young enough for him. Yeah. She looks great, man. I
risk getting in trouble with my wife. She looked amazing.
The suits she would wear, like they dressed her.
They did.
Perfectly.
Like weird things we can say. They dressed her
bosoms,
on point.
So like she like fits it perfectly.
They did they picked her vests very well.
Yes.
Very fitted.
Yes. And if she's supposed to be his
vest,
counter,
Mom, I said
but
vest,
I will say in
vest, V-E-S-T.
This movie's really weird because they automatically sparked like a romantic interest between her and Ethan. And I thought that was really rushed.
I didn't take it as initially as like a spark of interest. What I look at it as is you have a high-end thief versus like the consummate spy. So it was more like mind game distractions, like tee-hee, I'm pretty.
Okay. She's the rogue I wish I could play.
You're allergic to rogues.
I am.
We've gone over this.
Yeah, she's 41 years old. Yeah, I just looked it up.
Yep.
Yeah, crazy people.
Yeah.
Crazy people. I would give this.
So you're saying not too old for me?
Not too old. No. Hey, go for it, bro. if you can land Haley Atwell, you have my blessing. So I would give it a 3 out of 5. 3.5 maybe out of 5.
That's
again. I
there.
want the second. I feel like once the second one comes out, maybe my rating would change because this is a part 1, and I hate these. I hate part 1 and 2 kind of BS. Like, make a whole movie.
Right. This does really suffer from like what were you saying?
Part 2. By the time part 2 comes out, will you have remembered anything from part 1? You would have to go back and watch.
I will have to go back and watch it for
part
sure.
1.
Well,
yeah.
I'd want to have done that.
Anyway,
I think it's really going to suffer. It suffers from like Matrix Reloaded, Matrix Revelations, where it was supposed to be one story. It was too big. So they cut it into 2 pieces. And then you end up with one side that is all exposition and the second movie, which is going to be all action.
Yeah.
And they both will suffer a little bit from that in their various ways. But being Mission Impossible, I can't imagine that a mostly action, what could be a finale for Tom Cruise as Ethan Hunt, would be insane. It'd be so much fun to watch.
He's like, let's do every single stunt ever that I have ever thought of that is the craziest thing in this movie. We're just going to make a movie about stunts.
Well, what I think would be super cool, I would love to see them bring in, because they get different team members. They bring back as many of them as you can. Jeremy Renner in a wheelchair.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I don't know how far in his recovery Jeremy Renner is. I don't even know if they would have invited him back. There's a lot of things.
From 1 through 7, if the character is alive and the actor is available and willing,
bring him back.
I would love to see them just bring back an entire giant force. Like, again, I made this reference to it, but like pull an Endgame. Like, oh, okay. Like, we're just going to bring in
IMF
everybody.
Assemble.
Yeah. IMF Assemble. I love it. That's great. I loved it a lot.
You're welcome. All right. Well, that's Mission Impossible.
Well, hold on. Well, it's not all of Mission Impossible. Okay, we've given our actual scores. How do you rank them?
Oh, shoot.
Can you do it without looking at the numbers?
I can't.
Do you want me to go first? Or do you want this?
You can go first.
So, I think starting from the bottom, going to the top. 2 is going to be at the bottom. It's not a bad movie, but it's not a great one either.
Okay.
I am then going to follow that up with, I think I'm going to go with number 1.
Wow.
I am.
Okay.
Then I think in there it's probably going to go, Ghost Protocol. Then 3, because Philip Seymour Hoffman's amazing. Then I would probably put Fallout and then Rogue Nation. Is that all of them? Did I get
Dead
them all?
Reckoning.
Dead
Part
Reckoning.
1.
Oh, Dead Reckoning Part 1. I'm going to put Dead Reckoning in between. I might put Dead Reckoning between 1 and 3. I might actually put that way bottom of the list.
Okay.
It wasn't bad. I don't want anybody to think like I would tell everyone
watch all of them. Yeah, watch all of them. They're great. They're fun.
There is, as I said earlier, there's no bruised fruit in this bunch.
So we're starting from bottom to top?
Yep, and then I ended on Rogue Nation being
it would be
number 5 being number 1.
2.
Yep. 2 for the Woo.
Ghost Protocol.
Interesting.
3.
Okay.
And then 1. And then Dead Reckoning. And then Rogue Nation and then Fallout.
And you know what though? Okay, hold on. Point of clarification. If you replaced Henry Cavill in Fallout with a different actor, would it still rate as high for you?
It would then go Fallout, Rogue Nation, Fallout, and then Rogue Nation.
So you're saying it gets first place for literally this?
Yes.
That's actually another one of the great behind the scenes from that movie.
At least I admit it. You know what I mean? Like, at least I admit it. I have a little bit of a crush. Just a little bit
of a crush?
Just a little bit. And
I think you have a Superman-sized crush.
Hey,
crush
I'm all for it.
The size of Krypton.
Yes. So on that note, make sure
May it rest in pieces.
Like, subscribe, comment what your favorite Mission Impossible movie was.
You want to hear your stunt? I want to hear which was your favorite theme.
Whatever you liked about it.
Favorite teammate.
Yeah.
Give us all of that.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. And remember, if this makes 1,000 likes,
I'm going to put on a fancy yellow dress
when we release this
and try to do fancy climbing on people, jujitsu, and look a fool.
Yes.
I'll see you there.
From 2 weeks from there. And then last note too, because this will release the day before the next episode for Dames and Dorks, which will be 5 p.m. West Coast time on Thursday, September 14th on the Inside All Day podcast
You know what's a really easy way to remember that? Don't forget to hit that bell icon to get all those notifications so you know exactly when the episodes are coming out. And with that in mind, I think are we mission accomplished?
We have chosen to accept this mission.
That was hilariously, and I love they made fun of him for it in that one too. He's like, you actually said mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished, and this message will self-destruct in 3, 2, 1.